Today we are looking at the England versus France game. I'm hella nervous for it, but let's talk about it. So to talk about the big game coming up, I have to take it back and talk about the Senegal game because it was just a clean, professional, a nice win. I think, I was overall just completely happy with the way we performed. Senegal really couldn't get at our defence. I felt like we kind of put up a good defensive display. Obviously, there was a few shaky moments there, and there was probably a bit of a dull part of the game for the first 20-30 minutes. But overall, it really did work. Southgate kind of deployed the midfield of Rice, Bellingham and Henderson, and I feel like he struck another bit of balance there with that midfield. Obviously Mount missing out here, but I think the balance between that midfield is really, really working. I think Henderson's come in, and myself included, a lot of people said, do we need Henderson in that midfield? We've got this young, fun, exciting midfield. Why are we bringing that down with Henderson? But I feel like he's brought an extra competitive, he's brought that leadership, he's brought that composure in, and that's all kind of features that you need in a World Cup. To Southgate's credit, tournament football is different to league or whatever football. You have to be smart, you have to kind of be conservative. Look at France, who were playing like they won in 2018, not playing the most incredible football, but doing what they needed to get to the next round. And Southgate knows how to do that. He's becoming one of the best managers to ever have done that for England. And I think he deserves his credit. I really do. And it's annoying me that a lot of fans are just shitting on him. Why? There's no point. You're not even helping. You're just creating just more negative media around England. And that's something that we've built for so long to get away from. And people are just trying to bring that back. It's rather frustrating. And then if we look at France versus Poland, of course, the one thing you kind of just can't escape from, it's the biggest headline. It's just Mbappe. It's just him. He seems unstoppable at the minute. He's dominating the headlines. He's speed and power. He's just tearing through teams. He's full of confidence, and he looks scary. But you know what? He's not the only one. You've got Giroud, who's broke the all-time French scoring record. He's probably not going to have it for long with Mbappe on the scene. But what an incredible achievement that is, and he is so important to this team and the way they play, because it allows players like Mbappe and Dembele on the other side to create and be that kind of just force of nature going forward, and Giroud allows them to play that way. So he's another important player there. It really did work for them against Poland. I think Poland didn't show too much. I think they shut out Lewandowski quite well. They ran that game, and it was just, again, another clean professional win for France. So I feel like you're seeing a lot of comparatives between the two teams at the moment. And not to mention, France are ridiculed. No. And not to mention, France are just absolutely injured, so many injuries right now. Oh my God, what am I saying? And not to mention, France are just ransacked with injuries at the moment. They have no players in that midfield, but still pulling out of midfield of Griezmann, Rabiot, Tchouaméni, and it's just insane. How it just shows their depth and what they can do, because that's just crazy. As for the game itself, it's going to be a huge test for England, probably their biggest in years. I can't even tell you how many years it's been, because you look at the Euros and the biggest test we faced there, maybe obviously Italy in the final, but I feel like we were better than them and should have beat them. Germany, we've seen in the last couple of years how poor they've been. Denmark, you look at the World Cup before, we fell to Croatia, again a team we probably should have beat. This is the biggest test we've had in so many years. This is what it's all coming up to. As dramatic as that sounds, everything we've done in the past is leading up to these moments like this, and all the experience we've got from losing those games, we need to drag to these ones. As for the lineups, I don't feel like the two teams will change their lineup too much personally. I personally wouldn't change England's at all. Not one bit. I think it has worked. I think the defenders working really well. Of course, Walker coming in makes a lot of sense to me. The midfield three, like I've already mentioned. Even the attacking players, I think Foden coming in, offers a great bit of creativity. Kane obviously has to be there. A lot has been said about Kane recently, but if you look at the facts, he's contributed most games other than the US game, where obviously no one did. He's assisted or he's just scored. You can't take that away from you. You can't take away from your team. Someone is just got output, and Kane is output. Of course, if he's struggling in the game, then take him off. I feel like Southgate is a little bit scared to take Kane off at sometimes, but that's because of the output he brings. But either way, I do think realistically Kane starts. I think Saka deserves his start. I think he does the defense. Oh God. I think he does the defensive stuff really well. That's why I feel like he's choosing Saka over a Rashford who's on hot form as well, because Saka will get back and help out, and he's got the energy to do so. And I think they won't change their lineup too much, one, because of injuries, and two, this is like their best team, and their game plan is pretty clear. And I think really, like, obviously the pessimist inside me, and the second the game ended, I was like, oh, now we got France. I really do think we can do this. I think there's certain weaknesses in France's side that we can exploit. Their midfield, for instance, I think the midfield is obviously strong. It's obviously strong, but I do think, like, the way our midfield works right now with Henderson, Rice and Bellingham, it's just, I think Bellingham, obviously England fans, we're looking at this like, oh, France, it's terrifying. I think they'll be feeling the same way about us. They'll be looking at a player like Bellingham and going, oh my God, he's in hot form. He is a gem. He was great against Senegal, creating all that. And like what this midfield do and how they work together, I think it's just a beautiful thing. I love the way Rice can sit back a bit deeper. Henderson pushes forward and creates a little bit alongside Bellingham. They're both kind of box to box, but then off the ball, all three of them can join back in that defence and create just a solid wall for those attackers to get past. And I feel like the midfield will struggle. I think if we've got Bellingham and Henderson on fire, just running about, pressing and being creative when they're on the ball, I feel like players like Rabiot and Griezmann aren't going to be able to deal with that. And then defensively, when they're off the ball, I feel like they're aggressive enough to get the ball. I feel like it does really work, and I feel the midfield battle will be won by us. Obviously, you got the big deal of Mbappe running at us, but if there's one man in this world you want against him, it's Kyle Walker, isn't it? And I know that's a lot of pressure on Walker, but the geezer's got his strength and he's got speed, and he's got one match behind him now. And I feel like Southgate did that on purpose, playing him against Senegal instead of Trippier, because he knew that if we did beat them, we'd get France more than likely. And I think having Walker fit for that is so important, because you couldn't play Trippier there. It has to be someone with speed. It has to be someone with as much speed and power as Mbappe. And there's not many out there, but I feel like Walker is definitely one of them. The defenders as well, Maguire and Stones in hot form. I feel like there's a few mistakes still in there knocking about, and that'll be my biggest worry, to be honest. Just one of those two making a mistake, really, and just accidentally passing it to Mbappe or some shit like that. I don't know. That would be my only worry. And then going up top, again, like I've said already, Kane, output. Saka can get forward. Foden, beautiful creative spark that he is. We need to look at it in this way, and I feel like England can do it and could do something special. I think what will give us the biggest advantage is the fact that we have 5 substitutes and we can bring on an immense amount of talent. We can swap out Saka, bring on Rashford, who's already got 3 goals this tournament. We could swap out Foden, and we can bring on Jack Grealish, who will just run at these defenders, get fouls, create a problem. We can bring on Wilson if we want to. If we're struggling in the defence, we've got players like Eric Dyer that can come into it. In the midfield, once Bellingham and Henderson have done all they can, we can bring on Mason Mount, who is just energy personified. He will just keep running and running and running and run that midfield. And players like him could come on. And that will give us the competitive edge, I think, because France, because of their injuries, doesn't look like they have that depth in there. You're kind of replacing some of these attackers for players that aren't as good. You know what I'm saying? Because, to be honest, some of the players playing are already bench players anyway, because of the injuries they've already got. And I think that could give us the edge, because if we're 0-0, 1-0, 1-1 in this game, late stages, we can bring on a few different players and just completely change the game. And I hope that'll give us the edge. Right, yeah, that's my preview. It's a nerve-wracking one. I've been full of optimism for England there, and I'm sorry as well. This is a very England-heavy preview. I'm English, so I can't help it. Up the boys, but yeah, it's difficult. It's nerve-wracking. It's Tuesday. I'm nervous. The game's not until Saturday. You're not seeing this till Friday, but it's going to be a nerve-wracking one. But you know what? It's going to be a good one, and I'm really looking forward to it. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. And that's it from me. I'll love you. I'll leave you. I'll see you in the next one.